So my name is Abby Taylor, and if you haven't already figured it out, April, Resh, and I are sisters. April and on Facebook, but I'm the oldest sister, so the wisest, right? But I'm so excited to share with you guys my story tonight, and I tried to write this so many times. I'm one of those recovering perfectionists, and so I just decided, I'm just gonna go with it, and somebody here needs to hear my story. My Plexus journey has not always been smooth sailing. In fact, I have encountered a lot of valleys along the way, and actually fell into a few deep, dark pits. Maybe some of you can relate. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you guys a real-life glance at my story and how belief, vision, grit, and faith got me through it all. So when I said yes to Plexus in June, almost 3 years ago, my husband was not on board with it, especially the opportunity. I basically signed myself up without much approval, and that was the start of a long 2 years of just silently cheering myself on. There were many arguments between us in the first 2 years of my business. A lot of evenings I'd be getting on calls with tears in my eyes because he just was not happy with me spending all that time with my Plexus business. But you guys, here's the thing. He, at the time, couldn't see the big picture. He couldn't see all the freedoms and the blessings that were coming for our family, but I could. And that is what helped me push through that season of my business. My big vision and my solid belief. I had huge dreams for our family, to be debt-free, to be able to be a yes mom and dad, to be able to vacation together and make memories, to build our dream house, and even to pay off future medical bills for the genetic disease that I have. And so I pressed on. And during this time, I was also working as an elementary music teacher. So I was essentially working 2 jobs at once. I'm sure that there's lots of you out there that can relate with that. It was not easy. I remember sitting down for a quick lunch break at my desk, exhausted, pulling out my phone so that I could send a quick few texts, make a post, send some encouraging voice clips, usually out of breath, to my teammates, and then I felt very overwhelmed at the time. I was also frustrated because the further I got into my Plexus journey, I found that I wanted to spend time with Plexus versus my job at the time. But I knew that even though the time balance felt impossible in the moment, I knew it would not be like that forever. It was temporary. I saw others that had gone before me, and I knew if they could do it too, then I, being introverted, busy mama, could do it as well. And so I pressed on. And a year into my journey, I was finally able to take that leap of faith and resign from my teaching job. You guys, oh my gosh, it was such a blessing. I remember walking out of the double doors of school with boxes of papers and books in my arms. I got in my car, I drove away, and I have never looked back. I have had the incredible privilege of being home with our 3 kiddos. I cried the day I took my son to kindergarten and walked him inside and hugged him for the 3rd or the 4th time, not having to race off to work. I was the one that was at home with our daughter, making muffins, going on walks, not having to drop her off at daycare and see her sweet little face looking out the window of the sitter's house that I pulled away. I loved waiting in that school pickup line because I was the one picking up my son and asking him about the best and the worst parts of his day. I was the one sitting down to dinner with my family each night and not showing up late because I had too much schoolwork to finish. Didn't think I was gonna cry. I was now in charge of my own time and my own schedule for the first time in my life. And you guys, it is such a gift. So later that month, convention rolled around, my first in-person event, And like any other Plexus ambassador, I was so excited to go. Besides the fact that I had to get on an airplane, because airplanes are my biggest fear, and Plexus was the only thing that got me here in a plane. So it shows how important Plexus is to me, but it's a fear I am willing to overcome. Anyways, I was so ready for the life-changing experience, and I did come back changed, but not in the way I was expecting. I can't do this. I don't fit in. I'm not like them. Maybe this isn't for me. Those are the thoughts I left Vegas with, and they literally tore me up inside. I was seeing others having the time of their life, but I felt so small and quiet there compared to others, and my self-confidence, or what I actually had left, plummeted. Doubt and fear gripped me, and I had let myself get so wrapped up in negative mindset that I began to use every excuse as a reason for why Plexus wasn't for me. I completely downward spiraled and thought the only way to be released from that, the confusion, the pain, was to quit. And I did. I quit for 6 long months, and that's still really hard for me to admit because I don't like to quit things. At first, I did feel a release. I felt this sense of release of pressure, and I thought, okay, I'm following God's plan for my life. But looking back now, that wasn't it at all. It was actually Satan releasing his grip on me because I was no longer a threat to him. I was no longer working to serve others, to change lives, and to further God's kingdom, and to develop myself. And so I sat there, first relieved, then bitter, and then sad, and then finally depressed, until finally a light broke through, thank the Lord, at the beginning of 2020. I started to slowly get back up again, and because I missed everything about Plexus. I missed the community, the platform to be able to help others and create change. I missed the growth, feeling alive and full of purpose, and it just was so worth it all. And so I worked to gain back trust, confidence in myself again, and then on March 1st, I drew my line in the sand. I remember messaging Christina that morning and saying that I was all in. And you guys, that is the best place to be, by the way. If you're going to do this, you might as well do it well and all the way. So in April, my team and I double ranked Ruby and Senior Ruby within a few days' time, and then in June, we hit Emerald. From the outsider, it may have appeared that it came quick or easy for me, but that's so far from the reality I was actually facing. Our third child, Malachi, was born a healthy baby last May, but what pursued in the next 6 weeks was really life-changing and scary for our family. He was diagnosed with a delayed swallow after his 2-week appointment, and we noticed he had irregular breathing. And what we thought was fine after we came home actually went downhill really quick, and we found out that he had an extremely rare and serious staph infection in his little shoulder bone. So what followed were ER visits, tests after tests, ambulance ride, extended children's hospital stay, failed IVs, feeding issues, very little sleep, many tears, and then finally a PICC line. I felt so wrapped up in fear that my little baby would be taken from me. I would sit by the big hospital window at night, look out at the beautiful sunset, and really that's the only thing that kept me going. Knowing that even though I was out of control and helpless at that time, I knew that I could trust the Lord, and that He was the only thing that would get me through this all, because I felt like I had nothing left to give. And this was what I was facing when we were going Emerald. I realized I had to turn from my fear to faith. It was my job to speak against the darkness. And so I wrote out Bible verses, and I put them all over his hospital room, in his crib, and I started speaking them over him every day. I started filling my thoughts with hope and life and faith. And on the morning of the 28th, I pulled a Christina, and I actually went to bed on the 27th, and I was like, we got this. We're gonna fly right past Emerald. I can't wait to wake up in Emerald. Well, I did wake up an Emerald, and my points were actually a lot lower than I had predicted. So I remember sitting there thinking, I'm just going through so much right now. It'd be so easy to just give up, to just say, maybe next month, maybe another time would be better. But then I remembered that how great of a God and how big of a God that I served. And that if he brought me to this moment, if he brought my team to this moment, that he would bring us through it. And so I pressed on. I was unwilling to give up. I worked relentlessly from that hard hospital chair while I held my sweet sleeping baby, all wrapped up in wires and connected to machines. Nothing was going to stand in the way of my goals. And on the day that my baby and I came home from the hospital, I remember collapsing on the living room floor, all the bags, medical supplies. I picked up my phone and it read 1,511 points. I was finally an Emerald. We had done it. He had done it. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Friends, we all face mountains in our lives. We will all encounter unexpected moments and sharp twists in the road of our story, but we do have a choice. You have a choice to either dig in, push onward, even start again like I did, or you can choose to let go, give it up, and quit. But let me tell you that the hardest moments in your life will lead to the greatest moments of your life. Set yourself up for success by telling yourself that giving up is not an option. When the going gets tough, get going, friends. If God put dreams in your heart, which I know he did, be faithful to that calling. You are worthy of good things. You are worthy of success. Be the girl that wakes up with purpose and passion. Be the girl who shows up and never gives up. Be that girl that believes that anything is possible and is willing to work for it. For in all things we are more than conquerors through him who loves us. I pressed on because he had created me and all of us to be overcomers. And surely if he has overcome death and the grave, we can surely overcome whatever we may face now or in the future of our business journey. Thank you.